Hello and welcome to your full moon reading. We're going to be looking at the energy surrounding the full moon October 1st. And I'm going to pick a card and I'm going to use 2 different decks and 3 different piles. There will be timestamps in the first comment. I'll have the comment pinned in the comments for the timestamp. So we're looking at your full moon energy, what may be releasing from your life right now or your experience anyways, what you need to look at releasing. We're really looking at that whole later phases of the moon. We're looking at when, around the full moon, the peak of that cycle, but also, what will be falling away as the cycle comes to an end, okay? All right, let's get in there. All right, for stack number 1, okay, stack number 1, okay, there's more cards for that one. Okay, stack number 2, all right. Stack number 2. Stack number 3. All right. Stack number 1. Stack number 2. And stack number 3. Okay. All right, let me get these nice and neat. If you need to go ahead and pause the video to choose your stack. All right, let's start with stack number 1. All right, we have the 8 of Cups, which you might have already seen, the Ace of Swords, Temperance, the Queen of Wands, and the Hanged Man. Okay. It looks like, okay, definitely releasing here. I feel like it's you are releasing something. This is the walking away. Walking away from what? That doesn't really, I don't feel like we're going to get specifics there, but I feel like if you know, you know. This is definitely a walking away. So something that you're walking away from, I feel like headed towards something new. The Ace of Swords is the beginning. It's an idea. This is thought and communication based. So, maybe you had a big idea come in, or are having a big idea come in, and are deciding to walk away for something in order to pursue it. Then we have the Temperance card, which is about, baby steps, taking the proper steps, dipping your toes in the water if you need to, getting a feel for things before you dive in. This is a slow process, okay? This is a process. So I feel like it's the beginning stages of walking away from something, okay? Then we also have the Queen of Swords here and the Hanged Man. So I feel like this Queen of Swords really feels more like a princess to me. Maybe it's just the youthfulness in it, but I feel like there could be somebody in your life that might be trying to put a stop to it. The Hangman talks about pause, and there is, I don't know if you can see it, there is a gentleman taking her hand. Now I feel like there may be somebody trying to stop this movement. So you're releasing something. You are ready to do it. You're ready to start taking the steps. But I feel like there's a little bit of a warning that there may be a pause that, is not coming from you. I feel like it's external. Something's trying to stop you from moving forward toward whatever this new thing is. But you're ready to release it. So whatever, you already know what you're wanting to release, but there may be something that's trying to interfere. This could also be more of a matter of you taking a different view, getting a different perspective on where you want to go. This could be representative of you being led to something else. So if that first scenario didn't resonate, this may be the case. But yeah, I feel like you could be ready for a new perspective, and that's why you're walking away from something. But I also feel like I'm getting strong pause vibes from this, and external, something's going to try and like stop you. But I feel like you're in a good place where you're ready to do that. But it might be hard for other people to accept. Let's move on to stack number 2. All right, stack number 2. We have the Magician, the 5 of Swords, the 3 of Wands, the 9 of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, and the 9 of Wands. Okay. Make sure you can see all of those. Okay. Let's start with the Magician. One of my favorite cards. The Magician, I mean, it's fairly obvious. The Magician is like a manifester, somebody who takes things and puts them together and creates something new out of them. And I feel like you are in creation mode. But I do see this release here. So I feel like maybe you may have to incorporate some manifestation in order to release. But we have the 5 of Swords, which talks about defeat, and, you can be on either side of that coin. It could be you overcoming and defeating your demons. It can be you defeating, a person or a situation or a job, and you could be the one that got defeated. So only you know which one that is for you in this case, being a general reading. We also have the 3 of Wands here, which talks about, like kind of getting a plan together. So I feel like there's something that you're manifesting here, that you're ready to release and kind of stop and just plan and not actually taking any action on just yet. We also have the 9 of Pentacles down here, which is about independence. We have the Knight of Swords, which is vast communication. So I feel like we have the swords here like this together, and then we have the wands here like this together. So I feel like it's a matter of gathering your elements and knowing your power. Okay, I get that a lot from the 9 of Pentacles as well as the Magician. Very similar kind of energy. The energy for me from the 9 of Pentacles, if you're familiar with my channel, if you've heard this a million times, if you are not new to this channel, I call the 9 of Pentacles my single ladies card. This is, being a boss bitch. This is, this is you taking charge of your life and being able to do so and feeling confident in that. It also can represent luxury, abundance, and that sort of thing. But she is always by herself, and she's got her trusty little familiar there, if you will, comparing it to the Magician. So I feel like that, taking your power. She is a powerful woman. She is a boss bitch. She gathers the elements and she manifested abundance for herself. Very similar energy here. I feel like it's just kind of the bottom row is enhancing the meanings of the cards in the top row. So I feel like it's time for you to stand in your power. Nobody here, if you are looking closely, nobody's taking action. Now the Knight of Swords traditionally is on a horse that appears to be moving very quickly, and so it's speedy. And the swords have to do with communication. Now swords, or the Knight of Swords specifically, may involve a suitor of some sort sweeping in like the knight in shining armor and to rescue you, or something along those lines. In this deck, the knights are all depicted as female, again with that strong boss bitch energy. Okay, does she not look like a badass? So with the Knight of Swords being about communication, air, she is wearing like an aviator suit, it looks like, or maybe even a rocket pack. This is a steampunk deck, so it does have some of the like the you know, the, if you ever saw, what was it, Rocket Man, not Rocket Man, yeah, you know, the movie from like the 90s. Anyways, none of you are probably old enough to remember that, but I do. He had a rocket pack, but it was like set in the 20s or whatever. Back to the cards. She's swift, she's fast. Flight is fast, flying is fast, and it's about communication as well. So, you know, sometimes you may have to just hype yourself up. You may have to hype yourself up to believe that you're the boss bitch so that you can manifest what you're looking for. I don't see a whole lot of release. The full moon is also about, you know, the seeds that you planted in the new moon coming to fruition and being ready to harvest. This is also the harvest moon. So there could just be, this could be really talking more about what you've manifested in this cycle that kind of came in really fast for you. Maybe you fought some demons and you're sitting on top of the world and you've manifested that, and you're just going to enjoy the fruits of your labors. I don't really see a lot needing to be released here, other than possibly if you're falling into the I'm the defeated guy in the back category. Growing from that, though, taking forward, you know, looking ahead. The threes are about growth and teamwork and putting a plan together and making shit happen. So I feel like, you know, you could be just in that stage right now, and this is coming for you, and maybe needing to release the waiting game that you were playing before, and time to maybe start stepping up. The Nine of Wands, he's looking for the future, just very similar to the Three of Wands. Neither of them are taking action. They're both looking away. He is looking away. I don't know if you can see that very well. He's looking away from the cards with a spyglass, okay? So I feel like maybe you're just watching for signs, maybe, possibly watching for communication, but maybe looking in the wrong direction because the communication card is back here. But I feel like, you know, you're really, I feel like more in a manifesting mode than a release mode, but possibly, you know, releasing the need to be active, the need to feel like you have to be doing something, and more in an allowing stage and receiving, where you're receiving your manifestations and being the boss bitch. So that's what I get from those cards. Let's move on to stack number 3. In stack number 3, we have the Hanged Man again, I believe. I think we already have that in the other deck. The Empress, the King of Swords, the King of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. Very interesting energy. I feel like a dynamic shift, okay? I feel like there's a shift in your personal dynamic. The Hanged Man talks about either pausing and waiting for something, or not necessarily waiting, but just taking a pause for yourself. But also talks about the same things from a different perspective. He's flipped, you know, everything, the world is upside down to him, and maybe becoming accustomed to seeing things a different way. And then we also have another major arcana card right next to it, the Empress, which talks about, you know, nurturing and you know, being that, like, kind of the mother figure. It also talks about birth, and it doesn't, you know, it can talk about pregnancy, but I you know, I don't like to lean that way because that's like the first thing people say, and not a lot of times is it correct. But it's nurturing, motherliness. So whether you are a mother to be, like, typically, and you can't tell in a lot of the cards, so it's kind of left to your imagination, she is usually depicted as expecting. So if you're expecting something new, I feel like that could be part of that process for you as well. But immediately I'm drawn to all of the, like, the dynamic shift here. the Ten of Wands is a woman carrying a backpack. She doesn't seem burdened by it. Normally on this card, it's heavy and it's cumbersome and you don't want it. But she seems like she's, you know, it's like a power. Like she's powerful enough to do such things. And then we have the Queen of Wands here. More feminine energy, more fire energy from the Wands. Like this is like some badass femininity here, some girl power, I feel like. And I feel like it's kind of being taken away from the kings here. We have the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles, along with the Queen of Wands. Not one of them is suited to each other in those court cards. They can usually represent people in your life, but I kind of feel like this is more of there is an energy shift from masculine to feminine for you. Now, whether you felt like you had to be the strong one, like you had to be aggressive in some way, and I feel like you're kind of taking that back and possibly trying to shift it into a more caring and nurturing role for yourself, because maybe you've had to have that burden. Maybe, you know, the normal meaning of this card is burdensome and overwhelmed and taking on other people's crap, and, you know, not getting credit for the work that you're doing kind of vibes. I feel like you're taking that on like a boss and taking the power away from these guys. So, you know, I'm really getting a strong shift vibe with this full moon for you. You're releasing that masculinity that you had to endure or had to embody in order to get things done, and leaning toward a new perspective here of femininity and embracing your divine feminine and being that nurturing person, but keeping those boss bitch aspects of yourself that you've learned from trying to embody that assertive, aggressive, masculine energy. So you can still be the boss bitch and get stuff done, but you don't have to be burdened by it, okay? She's not going anywhere. She's just sitting on her horse. She's not using I forget what that thing's called. She's not using it. They're sitting pretty, you know. But notice also, if you're familiar with horses and you know back when women's horse riding, woman was wearing a dress. She sat side saddle, so she would have both of her legs over one side of the horse. And I don't think that she is in this card. I don't see her other foot, but it kind of looks like she's straddling the horse. Also, she has a scar on her leg. She has a bit of a battle wound from probably trying to be a feminine energy in a masculine suit, you know, and not really embracing both sides of that can leave some scarring. But what I wanted to point out is she's not sitting side saddle. She is straddling the horse. She is riding it like a man. But she is beautiful and feminine. There's flowers here, and she's wearing a flowing dress. She's got, it looks like a veil. This is a very interesting outfit, if you ask me. Okay, so I feel like it's partially the equestrian, but also like, you know, she's straddling the horse as if she was like going for a ride and not sitting side saddle, and she's not, you know, it's kind of the combination of masculine and feminine here for me. Also the top hat, there's a little bit of masculine pulled in there too. So I feel like there's not really much of a release other than understanding that it's okay to not be in that masculine mindset all the time. It's okay to not be assertive. Sometimes you can be demure. Sometimes you can be soft and nurturing. And I just feel like these two cards both. She's, you know, trucking along with her load, her heavy load there, moving on. Okay, so the 10, it's a 10 too, which is a completion of a cycle. So, you know, maybe you're done with being this assertive person and you've learned how to integrate your femininity with your masculinity, and you're not riding side saddle. That's what I want to say. You're no longer needing to be in a man's shoes. You can do both. You can be both. And you no longer need to, you don't have to sit side saddle, but you also don't need to wear a suit, if that makes sense. You don't have to wear a masculine mask. A mask. M-A-S-C. M-A-S-K. You don't have to do that anymore. So maybe releasing the idea that you need to be assertive and that you can't get things done if you're too girly. You can do both. So that's, I feel like, what the message is for your full moon this coming. I will see you in the next video. If this resonates, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, have a blessed day.